All right, my bad. I'm late today, y'all. Good morning. Mhm. 130 to 92. That's crazy. Red to green day. Uh, Just because of Oracle? Are you kidding me? All right, Thursday, December 11th. Let's get it. Oh wow, my SoFi calls are doing really well. Wow, those SoFi calls are killing it right now. All right, that's good. That's really good. I want to watch them. All right, what is SPY doing? We gap down. We have a big gap up. Your gap down too. VIX is down. Mmm. Disney sent a cease and desist letter to Google. Mm. Yeah, guys. Again, I'm sorry for being late today. I am so sorry for being late today. I'm gonna have to catch up on everything shortly. Yo, Rich, what's up, bro? One more day, then we can fly with dragons. Man, I am so mad. I am like literally so bored. One more freaking day. So yesterday wasn't even that big. They although like they didn't control the market the way they wanted to, they did have a headlock on that motherfucker though. So we'll get that. All right, this was Wednesday. I'm gonna have to go back and get that information. Copy. Yesterday was so boring when he was talking. Yeah, I am so sorry for being late today. 1-1 pre. We don't have that. All right, we can get those numbers actually. It's not that. Let's use it. This is SPY. Damn, that's a big fucking gap down on NVIDIA. Bro. All right, let's get some information. 9, 10, 11. Do you have any news today? Unemployment claims that happened 10 o'clock. Inventory 1, nothing then. Friday, 2 a.m., 2:45. I don't know, we got a Fed speaker. FOMC member. All right, so this is more like earnings and everything that we have this week. FinViz. All right, we can find that information. Oh my God, NVIDIA. Yeah, IWM is up a lot right now. Yo, NVIDIA. Whoa. was a gap down, but then pre-market. Nvidia's falling off a cliff. Damn, Nvidia falling off a cliff, boy. I mean, big time. No volume. All right, so we have Tesla down, Nvidia down, of course. We see that. Hoodie down. Everything is down. Everything is bleeding. AMD down. SoFi down. A little recovery, but IWM made a turn. It was running up. Big turn. Q's down. Open down. Gold up. Google down. Big down on Google. Well, not big down, but yeah, big down. Everything's big down. Everything's big down. We've been in a space race. Wow. What was that? Rent. You know what? It seems like, oh, it's still 9:51. I want to see this Nvidia news. Oh man, I seen the gap down on SPY. Then I figured, well, we got to fill in that gap. I forgot. Back to the shenanigans. Back to the shenanigans. What are you guys looking at today? Of course, I'm looking at SPY. All right, no gap fill, I guess. This is kind of crazy. This is kind of bananas. This is kind of crazy. Wow, Nvidia killing it right now, bruh. Yo, what is this? Look, I opened my put up a long time ago. Okay. I opened my put around here. I was looking at calls around here. Nvidia was 190 on Monday. Look at this. That's crazy. Oracle is why this market's selling off like this. Holy shit. That's a big downgrade. Damn, Oracle got holy shit. S&P almost down 1%. I'm a dog, I'm a mutt. It looks like more blood. looks like they want to. One more day and we fly with dragons. My God. We're gonna be a dragon. I'm gonna be a dragon. I'm gonna go Oracle. 100%. I'm gonna go Oracle. All right, let's figure out what's going on. Week now up all day. LOD already for the day. Easy stuff. We can only hope that's lower day. I mean, it's looking like that's lower day. We didn't see this. That was very, very fast. Definitely jerked me out my calls. I don't know what this market's going to do, man. Like, the fuck. But I did pick up my calls. I picked him back up around here. I didn't bottom ticket. I didn't bottom ticket. I think I wrote it in as I was writing it in. It was over there, and then I put it in immediately. You know what? This was lower day. We should have slammed it. We should have slammed it. I didn't slam it. A minute. I just didn't slam it. Space trade is real. Yep. Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab is killing it. Rocket Lab's in it. So remember, when UVIX have to fill the gap, when this gap's up and it has to fill the gap, has to come down. So when UVIX has to come down, the SPY has to fill that gap going up. We don't know when, we don't know where, but when it comes to that technical reading, that's what that reads. This, if you were in puts right here, you definitely made money. That's why you want to buy a put and a call at the same time. So when stuff like that happen, boom. SpaceX IPO is happening in 2026. Rocket Lab. Yeah, Rocket Lab. All the premiums on Rocket Lab just skyrocketed. All those premiums skyrocketed. Something else is tonight too. Rivals. Um, Rogue. Rogue drops tonight. Rogue drops. She's gonna drop a few hours before Path of Exile 2 drops. we're getting a debate later on. Ten 10:22. We're about to fill that gap. About to kick that gap down. They're kicking it down now. Insane. Insane. I have the 87s and the 86s. A big reversal. Look at that. That's crazy. we're gonna run this thing all day. Wow, I'm in the money already. This other one's gonna go into money. This is crazy. These things are going to get big. They can get big. Mm. You know what? I'm gonna let some runners run. It's cool. We're gonna let some runners run. We're gonna sell some right now. You know, like that could mean nothing, but it's cool. You know what? We see the gaps. That's all. But let's. I don't want to keep having to adjust it. Right here is good. Right here is good. This is good. All right. Sheesh. Oh man. So now's probably a better time. It's just the gap we want to see. Gap filled over here. Gap filled over here. You see? You see? You see? That's why you don't want to. You, You don't got to sell your whole position on your way up. And, you know, you don't even got to sell it all at the same time, just a little bit at a time. All right, that's that 1030 reverse. All right, this is a big structural change right here. That's high of day. High day 1029. Sheesh. 29. Disney is putting $1 billion in an open AI. What the fuck?
To enable
Can you hear
consumers
this?
to engage with our characters on what is probably the most modern of technology and media platforms today. And it not
This is
only
live,
gives
by the way.
consumers
This is
or
live.
users an opportunity to do so, but it also is significant because in this deal, OpenAI is both respecting and valuing our creativity, both of our characters, but also those that have created those characters. So it gives us an opportunity really to play a part in what is really a breathtaking growth in essentially AI and new forms of media and entertainment.
Does it represent any risks for you? You know, when I think about it, I know the voices of actors are not going to be a part of this. It's going to be the images, Bob. But that said, your own Imagineers, those who've created obviously these untold stories for you that have made the company it is, do they look at this announcement and worry at some point people who are manipulating short-term video using your characters are going to replace them?
Well, first of all, what we're doing here is we're licensing about 200 characters for users of Sora to create their own, basically, videos using Sora and those characters. We are not including name and likeness, nor are we including character voices. And so, in reality, this does not in any way represent a threat to.
So, AI Mickey Mouse that looks like Mickey Mouse with a deep voice instead of a high voice. is not going to threaten the brand
Netflix
of Mickey
scam
Mouse.
or scam?
Am I crazy here, or is he trying?
Let's get out of there. All right, let's look for the next. This was definitely a structure change. QE back tomorrow. So puts was 50% gain. Only trading SPY from today on fuck anything else. Yeah.
From our users that
Yeah,
are gonna
this is
respond very
why,
well to being
like,
able
I
to do this.
used to flirt
And I
with
hope
other
that it'll-
tickers and everything, but
Bro,
it's like I'm
am
not
I going
watching
crazy,
other
or what
tickers.
are we hearing?
I'm not like
Are we actually hearing two CEOs say that we think the
you're not really paying
general
attention to the other
population
tickers.
is going to respectfully and responsibly prompt intellectual property that has been coveted for the past century in a way that does not turn out to be,
Yeah, that's why I really
dicey?
look at SPY.
I mean,
You don't even
Doug
have
has
to
a good
trade
point
zero
right here.
dates. You
The
can
first
go
video where someone
2
prompts
days out,
Mickey
3
Mouse
days out
in the
too.
Oval
They're a
Office
little bit more
shaking hands with
expensive,
Donald Trump.
but you
I
at
mean, how
least
does
going to
that
get
not
the get
immediately
into the
trigger
play.
so many people?
This
And that's
the
just
play's a
like
little bit more safer too.
the least
Because
version of the
they're not going to
crazy
get
thing
as
that can
hit
be
as
doing.
hard.
I
So
really don't get it.
I
really
don't
don't believe there's gonna be
I'd rather
guardrails, and if
put
there are
that study
guardrails, then we're not
time
gonna get new creative
into
videos.
SPY. Getting
So
really
this
dynamic in
does
the
not
SPY.
make sense to
Now,
me,
when you want to
and I
do other stuff
really
like
am.
selling puts, selling
I'm just
calls,
questioning
then you
hardcore
got to pick the
what
right
they're trying to
ticker.
make us believe in. Because to think that the general public is not
Because
going to run crazy
different
with
people
these
have
prompts
different amounts of money and
doesn't
different
feel
amounts
like
of money that's going to let
realistic.
you
unleash a sort of a whole new way that
but
people
there's
use this
going to be
technology
something
and a new
good that you're
model
going to be
for
able to sell
companies
puts on or
making their
sell calls
technology
on, no matter
and
how much
rights
money you
holders
have,
to
as long as you
sort of
have enough 400
responsibly
shares.
figure out how to get this done together.
Can you expand on that? What do you mean when you say unleash a new wave, Sam?
One thing we found again and again is that we have underestimated the amount of latent creativity in the world. That if you lower the effort, skill, time required to create new things, people very quickly are able to bring ideas to life and make new kinds of entertainment, art, code, all sorts of things with this new tool of AI. And if we can enable people to do that and give them more flexibility, like with these 200 Disney characters, I don't know exactly what we're going to see, but I think people will come up with amazing kinds of ideas.
Right. And to that point, and I know Sarah is very concerned here about the princesses. There are going to be guardrails around the usage. Is that right, Sam?
Yeah. Again, Disney is a great partner for us for this because they've been so willing to work out how this new world is going to work together. But there will, of course, be guardrails. It's very important that we enable Disney to set and evolve those guardrails over time. But they will, of course, be in there.
Bob, is the deal exclusive, or is it possible for you to go out and sign a similar deal with other short form video or companies that provide that ability?
This is a 3-year license agreement, and there is exclusivity at basically the beginning of the 3-year agreement.
Cracks his
So
voice like
yes,
a little
it
bit.
is partially exclusive.
So for the first year, for example, I would guess something along those lines.
That would be a good guess.
Now, why did you decide to invest $1 billion in OpenAI along with this deal?
Well, obviously, we've been mindful of the significant growth in AI to begin with, and extremely impressed with the progress that Sam and OpenAI have made. And that includes, by the way, as I said earlier, their agreement to both honor and value and respect our content. And we want to participate in what Sam is creating and what his team is creating. We think this is a good investment for the company. It's kind of a way in of sorts for us to appreciate even more what is obviously something that has significance in terms of the long-term impact on our business.
And there are warrants that came along with it.
Don't forget the money printers are turned on tomorrow. So tomorrow is quality easing. That's QE.
I think that's correct.
Okay. Bob, at the same time you announced this deal, I reported on a cease and desist letter that was sent to Google. I would imagine that's not a coincidence in terms of the timing. I'm curious as to what your conversations have been like with other platforms, including Google, and why you chose to make that move today.
Well, we've been aggressive at protecting our IP, and we've gone after other companies that have not honored our IP, not respected our IP, not valued it. And this is another example of us doing just that. We've been in conversation with Google, basically expressing our concerns about this, and ultimately, because we didn't really make any progress, the conversations didn't bear fruit, we felt we had no choice but to send them a cease and desist.
And Sam, on that same note, did your conversations with Bob and you're reaching a deal here come out of conversations around IP, or can you give us some sense as to how we got here?
We always have wanted to respect IP. When we launched Sora initially, we had a lot of blocks in place, but we knew that if there was one company that we wanted to start partnering with, Disney was the obvious one. And so we have had a long discussion going with Disney, and we found them to be a sort of open-minded partner as this technology has evolved. And it was very clear to us that we really wanted to find a deal to do here.
Is it possible you'll sign similar deals with other companies as well?
The demand for Disney characters in particular from our users is sort of off the charts. So I won't rule out anything in the future, but we think this alone is going to be a wonderful start for what our customers want to do when it comes to putting themselves in that one lightsaber scene from lightsaber fight from Star Wars, or making like a Buzz Lightyear custom birthday video for their kid. I think this is going to be like quite a big deal for our users, and then we can reevaluate from there.
Did you just almost mess up like a Star Wars?
I just want to understand, sort of, you're looking at obviously what people are doing, and you're seeing them interact with these Disney characters on a frequent basis. I guess that's what I'm hearing, right, Sam?
Well, they'd like to be interacting. There's desire to do it. They haven't been able to yet. Yeah.
They'd like to be. When does this start, by the way?
I don't know if we have the launch date yet, but we'll try to get it in there as soon as we can.
And Bob, in terms of the use of Sora videos on the Disney Plus platform, which is also a part of the announcement, can you give us some sense as to how you're envisioning that, or how that would work?
Well, we've wanted for a long time to have what we'll call user-generated content on our platform. In this case, it will be user-prompted, Sora-generated content. We'll be licensing AI Sora tools in order to do that. Initially, what we'll do is we'll curate some of the videos that have been created on the Sora platform and put them onto Disney Plus, which we think is a great way to increase engagement with our Disney Plus users, particularly the younger users. And we're going to do that as soon as we possibly can.
You're right. So there'll be, I don't know, some sort of a tile or something that I can access as a Disney Plus user to look at what people have been creating.
Even the Black Swan won't take us to the 660 gap fill. Yeah, I thought we were going to see the 660 gap fill before we move up.
To create what they want to create.
So 660 is a gap fill.
Yeah, that's a big step for us.
Sam, I'd love to come to you if I can as well.
There you go, David. See, if you...
Yeah.
All right, I didn't buy puts up there.
Yeah.
Well, you put it up very quickly, but there you go. There's a case of someone who wants to have a race against Lightning McQueen from Cars.
But
this is what I think Sam's ultimate fantasy is, which is ultimately to hold the lightsaber himself.
That would be cool.
That's surfing with Stitch.
You know what? I'm gonna take that dub. I'm gonna probably call it at 12.
Bob, it is inclusive of most of the Disney characters that we know well, and obviously because they range far and wide at this point between Star Wars and Marvel, not to mention The Simpsons. I mean, it goes all over the place. It's not just Mickey Mouse.
There are many characters here, and I think there's almost a character for everybody in this set. And I think it's going to be really fun and interesting to see what people do with them. And again, it's a great step for us. We've always been forward thinking when it comes to applying technology to both engage with consumers at a closer and a higher level, to improve our business, to essentially create new experiences in general. We were the first to license television shows and movies to the iTunes platform back in 2005 and 2006 as an example. And this is another step in essentially that direction, which is to get on board with what
They
is
said the nerds are going to get real
incredibly
nasty with the chop
impactful
now.
and,
Got to tighten up.
profound
Yeah,
way
it's going to
to
probably be real
change our
choppy. This is why I'm
society
going
and
to
certainly change our
probably
industry.
call it.
Yeah, I asked this a bit earlier, but I just want to come back to
Probably call it
I'm curious, Bob, what you think the reaction is in your company itself and amongst those who are
bear
your
trap with the
creators
bull
of
trap
animated IP.
as a
I mean,
cherry
are
on
they going to view
top.
this positively, do you think? And if so,
Now
why?
you guessed it right. Oh, that's so funny.
Well, they should.
Trump tweets the market
Trump
hits
tweet.
all-time high. Oh, Trump tweet.
Stock market just hit an all-time high, which is not true.
Trump just
When will the fake
tweeted
polls show that I'm doing a great job on
stock
the
market
economy
hit
and
an
much more,
all-time
right?
high.
The stock market did not just hit an all-time high. That's
No,
not
it didn't.
correct, but
You're not Powell. You can't move
as
the
you can
markets like
see,
that, boy.
Donnie T cares about the stock market, which is why he's gonna try to protect it.
All right,
next term, I think.
so we know
But
Donald
if I'm
Trump
not
is trying to protect the
wrong, I
stock
think
market.
the
Okay,
stock market has hit an all-time high. We're close.
so we
I know
don't.
we're down on the day, but
So
not
me
hitting new all-time high.
personally,
Our goal is
I'm
in
not
using
going
AI
to
is
bet
to
against
continue
that.
to honor, respect, value,
You
and
know,
grow
I
the
am going to
community in general.
be
We
very,
don't believe that
very
in this
extremely
case
bullish.
it does anything but that, really. Again, because we're not using name and likeness, we're not using character voices. That's certainly
You know,
example
very,
of that. And
very
again, the
short
fact that
term
we're getting paid
bearish.
for this
You know,
recognizes the value that's been created. Really, in this case, over
that's
decades.
crazy.
Mickey Mouse was created in 1928, as a for instance. It's kind of extraordinary when you think about that a character was created, almost 100 years ago, is going to end up on the Sora platform. And I think that speaks volumes, not just about the value of the character and the interest that people still have in that character, but the fact that that users will be able to engage with a character that they've loved for so many years, so many decades, in really modern and I think pretty enjoyable ways.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. Of course, Steamboat Willie, it was kind of a short of its own, about 8 minutes long. Obviously, a lot longer than 30 seconds, but nonetheless not particularly long. Sam, I wanted to come to you on some broader issues in the time that we have here as well. You're going to exit the year, I believe, with about 1.9 gigawatts of compute. You've said, I believe, publicly around a $20 billion annual revenue rate. Does a deal like this help you think about an increase in terms of revenues and or your need for compute?
Yes, I mean, we expect this to drive incremental revenue and also just delightful services for our users. We have a lot of other things that we expect will drive incremental revenue, but the only way we can deliver on that is with more compute. So we will continue to build out compute. We'll try to do a big multiple on that 1.9 gigawatts over the course of the next year, and we'll keep going from there.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about Oracle this morning, of course. And so much of the investment perspective on that company comes back to your own and your ability to make good on the $300 billion commitment you've made in terms of buying compute from them. Why are you confident?
All right, so
because
this is a
others
dip.
certainly are at least questioning in your ability to meet that obligation over these next 5 years, Sam.
The value that we see people getting from this technology and thus their willingness to pay already today, to say nothing of the models that we have coming in the coming months and years, makes us confident that we will be able to significantly ramp revenue. It's obviously unusual to be growing this fast at this kind of scale, but it is what we see in our current data. The model's ability to do really increasingly valuable economic work in larger and larger chunks. I think you'll start to see this with our next model. and then more of the next one, the one after that. We are confident we can continue to drive the revenue growth to meet this compute ramp. Without the compute ramp,
Do you
of
see
course,
how
we can't have
yesterday
revenue
I
growth,
told you 2
but,
o'clock?
we see way more reasons to
I
be
told you don't
optimistic
buy
than
anything until
reasons
2
to be
o'clock.
pessimistic. Of
You know,
course,
like
we'll continue to
anything
be
big,
responsible,
anything
and of course, we'll
significant.
adjust our plans if as necessary
Until 2.
if something happens that's not what we expect.
You
But
see
given what
why?
we see right now, the demand in the market
You
is
see why?
pretty extreme.
Insane, right?
What these models are capable
Insane.
of, that the world has not yet figured out how to
You
build
know,
into
at
their
like
workflows is also
150, you buy your
Well, I
spread,
do wonder, though, specific to Sora and the
and going into
discussion
2
we're having,
o'clock,
it's
2
more
o'clock,
expensive for you, right? I mean, it
you
requires more
buy
compute, and
into
I would
the
assume,
winning
are
side. You know,
losing
you
more
buy your
money on
call,
every
you buy your
Sora
put
video
at
than on
150,
a simple query?
and then you'll see
do you start
where
charging in
which
a
one is
significant
gaining
way,
money. Then
particularly
you
given
you
you're
just
gonna be
keep
paying
buying
a
that one.
licensing fee as well to Disney?
We do charge today for storage generations beyond some
You just
included free ones.
you just keep
And
buying that
I'm
one.
sure we'll continue to evolve the business model there, but users have not indicated any lack of willingness to pay for generating videos that they love. In fact, if anything, there's been much more of that than we initially expected. So yes, it's more expensive, but people pay much more and expect to pay much more than they do for an image.
And you see price elasticity there in terms of what you can charge.
It seems like it.
I have always wanted to be a Disney princess. Sam,
There you go.
it's Sarah. There we go. Thanks for the solution. Look, as you know, in the market, it's gone from very optimistic to a little more scrutiny on the AI trade. And I know you're not public, but there are questions, for instance, following up on the revenue question. Can you tell us a little bit about trends in ChatGPT since Gemini 3 was launched by Google and outperformed a lot of the OpenAI models?
Gemini 3 has had less of an impact on our metrics than maybe we feared. We will very soon launch a new model that we're quite excited about, as well as a handful of other features in response to their launch. You know, we have twice before seen a competitive threat, and I believe that when a competitive threat happens, you want to focus on it, deal with it quickly. We call that a code red, sort of a 6 or 8 week focus period, and then you deal with whatever you're
Altman trying to
deal with
downplay the
and,
code red
you know,
comment.
get back to a position of clear leadership and move on. So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing with Gemini. This is a pretty standard thing for us. I expect we'll exit it by January in a very strong position.
Yeah, because that's sort of the question now is it's obviously becoming a very competitive race, both technologically and for market share. So how do you expect
Gap
the
didn't
sort of market
close.
share battle to play out, both on the consumer side and the enterprise side?
On the consumer side, there's no company I would want to trade positions with. It will clearly be competitive, but I love where we are relative to anybody else. I think ChatGPT is the, you know, by far market share leader. And with these upcoming launches, I expect that distance to increase, not decrease. I expect our market share to go up. The enterprise side is still earlier. We intend to go in there.
I
but
can't
we have a lot
believe
of work in front of us,
this discussion
and
is
it
holding
won't
up the
be
market
easy.
right now.
Believe
it or not.
The set of services we want to offer finally has, I think, come into clarity, and the models are getting strong enough that I think enterprises can really transform. But that will be one of the big stories of 2026 is the companies competing for that. Again, I love the position we're in, and I think our strength in consumer is going to really translate, and we're going to try our hardest to go in enterprise.
And Sam, to those who say, well, you know, simply looking at it on a cost per token per dollar per watt, to quote Satya Nadella, one of your partners, you guys are not going to be able to beat Alphabet. How do you respond?
We expect to beat Alphabet. We're incredibly excited about our upcoming chip.
Your upcoming chip. When do you expect to actually be deploying that?
As soon as I said that, I realized you were going to ask me. We're not ready to talk about that part yet, but we will talk about it. And we are very focused on having the cheapest cost per token in the industry at the highest level of intelligence.
Yeah, Bob, I know you've been listening here, and I'm curious as to how you viewed the landscape as well in terms of who you wanted to partner
VIX
with,
filled
and
its
whether
gap
ChatGPT was
first,
always sort of the number one target.
and then it
Sam and I
just
first met
went haywire after
retired
that.
from Disney in 2022.
VIX
And he
filled
gave me a
its
bit of a
gap
roadmap of
first.
where OpenAI and AI was going. And everything that he predicted has come true a lot faster, actually, than he thought would unfold or would happen when we met in 2022. So we've been extremely impressed with OpenAI's growth and what Sam and his team have been able to achieve. And of course, on top of that was their appreciation for our content and their willingness to license it and their willingness to help us protect it and to protect value. So we're very excited about what we see. We also think there are great opportunities for our company to license other product from OpenAI to make our company more efficient, to grow the top line, to essentially accomplish a lot of what we feel we need to accomplish in the years ahead.
Yesterday.
Yeah, well, you say you're going to become a major customer of OpenAI. What does that mean, Bob?
Oh, of course, people sell those cars.
Again, we think there are a lot of opportunities here beyond Sora to license product from OpenAI, and we intend to do just that.
All right, that was the Disney OpenAI partnership.
All right. So that's what's. I think Trump tweeted too early. LOL. Jeez, where did that come from? All right, that looks good. I like that. exactly what it is. And Kramer tweeted an hour ago, Oracle could catch a bid here. You see how Adobe got one? Oh God. Yeah, 1 second, 1 second. Not right now. Maybe, maybe